This is why the chosen ones are isolated without romantic connections. Hello, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that resonates deeply with many people who feel set apart in life. Those who feel the pull of a higher calling yet find themselves isolated, often without the typical romantic or social connections others seem to enjoy. It's a path that can feel lonely, but for those who are called to walk it, this solitude serves a profound purpose. Today, we're here to explore why those who are chosen may find themselves walking this isolated journey, and why it's not a punishment or a curse, but a part of divine preparation. As we delve into this, we'll draw insights from C.S. Lewis, spiritual wisdom, and examples of those in history who have followed this path. For many, a calling from God places them on a path that seems to veer away from the norms of society. You may have felt this yourself, a sense of being different, or even misunderstood. Instead of fitting into the molds around you, you find yourself yearning for something deeper. While this path may feel lonely, it's essential to remember that this isolation is not a sign of rejection or inadequacy. Rather, it's part of a divine preparation, an intentional process meant to equip you for a purpose that may be more demanding, requiring a particular focus and devotion. This journey begins with a simple truth. Those who are chosen by God are often separated for a unique purpose. They are not set apart to elevate themselves above others, but because their lives are meant to carry out a mission that requires a singular focus. To fulfill this purpose, God often allows them to experience seasons of solitude so they can cultivate a relationship with Him that is both profound and sustaining. In these seasons, romantic relationships, friendships, and other earthly connections may feel out of reach. However, this isn't because the chosen are unworthy of love or companionship. Instead, it's because their path requires a kind of attentiveness and trust that can only be developed in the absence of distractions. Throughout history, the theme of divine isolation appears repeatedly. In the Bible, we see how God uses isolation to prepare those He calls. Moses, for example, spent years in the wilderness tending sheep before he was called to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. It was in this solitude that he learned patience, humility, and dependence on God. Jesus Himself, before beginning His public ministry, retreated into the desert for 40 days, seeking God in solitude and prayer, where He was tested and strengthened for the mission ahead. Likewise, those chosen today are sometimes led down similar paths of solitude so that they, too, can grow closer to God and gain the spiritual resilience required for their unique calling. Isolation is a part of the preparation that God allows His chosen to experience. Not because He wants them to suffer, but because He wants them to be strong enough to carry out the tasks He has set before them. God is refining their hearts, focusing their spirits, and preparing them for something far greater than they can imagine. And while relationships can be beautiful blessings, they can also pull us away from the deep, focused spiritual work God is doing within us. There are moments in life where companionship would be a distraction, and instead, God calls His chosen to rely entirely on Him for strength, wisdom, and guidance. C.S. Lewis, a renowned author and theologian, understood this concept well. In his writings, he often reflected on the idea that those called to a divine purpose might walk a path that others could not fully understand. In works like the Screwtape Letters and the Chronicles of Narnia, Lewis illustrated how solitude could serve as a crucible for personal growth, allowing individuals to deepen their faith and reliance on God rather than on other people. Lewis believed that the absence of romantic and social connections could actually bring one closer to their divine calling, leading to clarity, strength, and resilience. For those who feel chosen, isolation is an opportunity for spiritual growth and understanding. It is a time to develop a closer relationship with God and to build a foundation of faith that cannot be shaken. Often, the chosen will find that, during these times, their understanding of themselves and their purpose becomes clearer. Just as a jeweler polishes a precious stone to reveal its true brilliance, God uses solitude to refine His chosen. This is why isolation, rather than being a curse, is a blessing in disguise. It is in these quiet moments, away from the distractions of the world, that we can truly hear God's voice and sense His guidance. In this way, solitude becomes a path to inner strength. When God removes certain relationships or connections from your life, it's not to leave you empty-handed but to fill you with something far more valuable, a connection with Him that can sustain you through any trial. For those who are chosen, solitude is a time to discover their inner strength and to understand that their value and purpose come not from external validation but from God Himself. This journey of isolation can feel like a crucible, where the pressures of life and the absence of worldly distractions allow the chosen to grow into their truest selves, shaped by God's hand alone. Consider also the examples of historical and spiritual leaders who have experienced solitude as part of their journey. Figures like Elijah, who retreated into a cave to hear God's voice, or even modern figures like Mahatma Gandhi, who spent periods of silence and introspection, used solitude to deepen their connection with their inner purpose. These moments of retreat were not signs of weakness or failure but essential steps in clarifying and strengthening their mission. These leaders knew that to guide others, they first had to align themselves fully with their calling, and solitude was often the catalyst for that alignment. Solitude, therefore, should not be feared but embraced. It is a necessary part of spiritual growth, a time to listen to God's voice, and to strengthen our sense of purpose. When the chosen ones embrace solitude, they allow themselves to be molded by God's hand, preparing themselves for the unique path He has set before them. Just as a river carves through rock not by sheer force but by persistence, the chosen are shaped by their solitary journey, refining their character and resolve. Many people in the world today may not understand this path, as it diverges significantly from the common pursuit of companionship, success, and social approval. Those who are chosen, however, know that they are called to something different. Their solitude is not a sign of rejection but a mark of their purpose. As they walk this path, they may notice that certain people naturally drift away, while others remain steadfast in their lives. This is part of the purification process that comes with following a divine calling, a filtering out of relationships that no longer align with their mission, allowing space for deeper connections with those who truly support and understand their journey. This process can be challenging, especially when the chosen feel misunderstood or judged for their solitary path. Yet, it's important to remember that solitude is a byproduct of living in alignment with one's truth. It's not about superiority or elitism, but about recognizing that their lives are meant to carry out a purpose beyond themselves. The chosen ones walk this path not to distance themselves from others, but to draw closer to God, who is their ultimate source of guidance and love. This is not an easy journey, and there will be times when the chosen will face trials that test their faith and patience. But these challenges are not just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. Each test is a stepping stone that brings them closer to fulfilling their purpose, helping them to become stronger, more resilient, and more committed to their faith. The trials the chosen ones face are a reminder that they are called to lead by example, to be a source of light and inspiration to those around them. The Bible is filled with examples of those who faced great trials and temptations, and not all of them succeeded. Figures like Adam and Eve, who succumbed to temptation, or the Israelites, who doubted God's provision in the wilderness, show us that the journey of faith is not easy. Even Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples, denied him out of fear. Yet, these stories also remind us that even in moments of weakness, God's grace is present, and His love remains steadfast. For the chosen, solitude is an invitation to deepen their relationship with God, to find strength in Him, and to trust in His guidance. It's a time to lay aside worldly distractions and to focus on what truly matters. When we embrace this journey of solitude, we open ourselves to a connection with God that can sustain us through any hardship, knowing that He is our fortress and shield. This journey of solitude allows the chosen to become their truest selves, empowered by God's love and guidance. So if you find yourself feeling alone or misunderstood, take heart. Know that you are not alone, and that your path is one of purpose and preparation. Trust in God's timing, and know that in His presence, you are never truly alone.